Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and this is my review for Fairy Tale Chapter 358. Now, this one starts off with, it starts off right where I left off last time, pretty much. Laxus versus Tempesta. And we learn that his title is Calamity of the Immortal. And we learn what that means a little bit later. But, him and Laxus start fighting, and Laxus pretty much dominates. He ends up finishing Tempesta off with Lightning Dragon's Bite, which is pretty much just a double axe handle. That's it. But according to Tempesta, Tartarus underestimated the amount of destructive force that humans were capable of, and it's a variable they didn't take into consideration. So he says that he sacrifices one of his lives. So he's immortal, but and is he the only one that's allowed to sacrifice one of his lives? Like, if someone actually kills him, will he still turn into that black mist and then be able to, like, regain his physical body? I don't know yet, but hopefully that is the case. His immortality is not something he can only activate by killing himself. That would be stupid. I'm hoping if he was killed, he would still turn into a black mist anyway, and still be alive. But I'm assuming just like the homunculus from FMA, I'm assuming he has a limit of lives, since he said he had to sacrifice one of his lives. It means he has a finite amount. But yeah, he turns into that black mist stuff, and apparently it's like it's magical barrier particles, and whatever. They apparently they feed on ether nano, and it contaminate it, and it's pretty much the point is that it's poison. Pretty much that's the point. It's poison for mages, and later on we learn that it's also poison for normal people as well. But he ends up leaving afterwards to return to Tartarus's base because for some reason that's the only way he can regain his physical form. So I'm interested in seeing why exactly that is. But Laxus and Yajima, Evergreen, Big Slow, Freed, they're not doing too well. But since Laxus is a Dragon Slayer, he's holding up better. And he decides to breathe all of the mist in so that Freed and the others can escape. So Freed carries everyone back somehow. Somehow he carries everyone back by himself after Laxus collapsed from breathing in all that poison. And Porliushka, whatever, Porliushka, I have no clue how to pronounce her name, but Porliushka, I'll say. She ends up taking a look at them and doing what she can, even though this poison was supposed to be fatal. None of them are dead yet, not even Laxus, though he apparently has like internal damage or something like that. But since this is Fairy Tale, they're all going to survive. And not Laxus, Freed is under the impression that Laxus was able to save everyone, save the entire village that was near there, save the whole town, save everyone in there. And he's happy that, just by sacrificing themselves, they were able to save a bunch of people. But it turns out that they didn't save anyone at all. All of their efforts were completely wasted because so far the body count's over 100 and people are still dropping. And that's just the people who are dead. There's still probably people like them who are just sick and not doing well at all. So, yeah, it's Tempesta. He might be weak, but once you beat him, that's when he actually becomes strong. So, uh, yeah, Tempesta made quite just as big of it. No, I can't say made as big of an impact as Jackal did, because Jackal just destroyed the council. And like Yajima said earlier, you cut off the head, the body will follow. So the Magic Council itself, just as a whole, is just not doing well right now at all. But I can't really. It's just chaos. And Jackal created all that chaos, so I can't really say that Tempesta created more chaos when he only affected a single town, while Jackal affected the entire Magic Council and all of their branches. But still Tempesta created a decent amount of chaos, and he's impressive. So far, what we've seen from the 9 Demon Gates has been incredibly impressive, and these guys aren't even the leaders, but yeah, Silver and that other girl are probably the strongest ones. But Urza points out in this chapter that since Jalal is a former member of the council, he's going to be targeted. And I guess Ultir will also be targeted now. And if she's targeted, she's definitely going to die because she's an old woman now. There's no way she'll be able to beat one of the 9 Demon Gates. So it's interesting to see it's interesting to think about what could happen next. But I like this chapter. Overall, I guess I'd give it. I'll actually give it an 8 out of 10, just because not because of what happened with Tempesta. It's mostly because of the contrast between what Freed believed and what was actually true. When you do things like Hiramashima did this before with Ultir, when she sacrificed herself to rewind time back, and it was only like 1 second, and she was thinking of how much of a failure she was, when in reality she had actually turned the tides of the war, I guess you could call it, the battle. Well, not a war, but a battle. Actually, you might even be able to call it a war. It's more of a war than Bleach's, but whatever. That's not the point. The point is that he's done this before, and I like when you compare and contrast, you compare and contrast two completely different situations, and people believe one thing to be true when it's actually the opposite. So I really like what he did with that. So I'll actually say this was a good chapter and give it an 8 out of 10. But that's it for now. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.